Hello MotoGP enthusiasts, welcome back to ZNGP Today. MotoGP stars Francesco Bagnaia and Marquez have made a decision that has left paddock insiders shocked. Both riders will head home to Europe after the Japanese Grand Prix, despite the physical demands of another long-haul flight to Australia just a week later. Some experts say this choice poses a massive physical strain that could have been avoided. Here's the full story. As the MotoGP 2024 season nears its climax, Ducati Lenovo Team Manager, Davide Tardozzi, expresses confidence that Francesco Bagnaia is ready to take on Jorge Martín in what promises to be an intense title decider in Valencia. With the championship fight still wide open, Tardozzi believes both riders have earned their place at the top. Here's more from the Ducati camp. Fabio Di Giannantonio is steadily finding his form once again after a shoulder injury, and he is drawing inspiration from none other than Marquez. As Di Giannantonio returns to a more competitive level, he discusses his recovery and the lessons he can learn from Marquez's mastery of the Ducati GP23. Here's more on his progress. Dani Pedrosa offered his insights during the Japanese Grand Prix, where he shared his thoughts on the key moments from the race, including Pecco Bagnaia's victory and Pedro Acosta's strong performance. Here's what the former MotoGP star had to say about the weekend at Motegi. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. After winning the Japanese Grand Prix, Francesco Bagnaia confirmed that he would head home to Europe to rest before the next MotoGP round in Australia. This logistical decision, which will involve 2 long-haul flights in a short span of time, has raised eyebrows. "I go home to rest a bit, to enjoy some downtime. I'll spend Sunday on the sofa watching Superbikes and Formula 1. Quote from Francesco Bagnaia. The surprise was shared not only by fans but also by insiders like TNT Sports' Neil Hodgson. "I'm really surprised. It's a massive thing. You're jet-lagged, then within a week, you're off to Australia, and you'll have major jet lag again. I'm shocked he's going home." Quote from Neil Hodgson. The decision to return to Europe ahead of the Phillip Island round has sparked debate about the physical toll it may take on Bagnaia and Marquez, who made a similar choice. MotoGP pundits highlighted the risk of fatigue and illness from the back-to-back flights, with Michael Laverty adding that staying in the region could have been more beneficial. "You could stay on Australian time if you choose, but going home means you're resetting to a different time zone, then flying again, which puts massive strain on the body. There's also the risk of picking up bugs on the plane." Quote from Michael Laverty. Laverty pointed out that, with family and friends already with them in Japan, the riders could have opted for a more relaxing approach by heading directly to Australia. Marquez echoed Bagnaia's decision, stating that returning to Spain would allow him to recharge both physically and mentally before the grueling triple-header in Australia, Thailand, and Malaysia. "I'll go back to Spain for 1 week to relax, recover, and prepare for the next 3 races." Quote from Marquez. While both riders believe that returning home offers a sense of comfort, the debate continues over whether the added travel will impact their performance in the upcoming races. With the intense flyaway section of the MotoGP season underway, Bagnaia and Marquez's decision to return home has left many wondering if the physical demands of long-haul travel will affect their form in Australia. Fans and experts alike will be watching closely to see if this choice pays off or backfires. Pecco Bagnaia continued his impressive form in Japan, winning both the sprint race and the full-distance race on Sunday, narrowing the points gap with championship leader Jorge Martín to just 10 points. This season, Bagnaia has claimed 8 long race victories, compared to Martín's 3, leading to what Tardozzi calls a paradoxical standings situation. This year, whoever wins the title will fully deserve it, and whoever finishes second will not have anything to envy. There's complete respect between Pecco and Jorge. They both understand each other's strength. Pecco is not afraid of going up against Jorge in Valencia, especially at a track that feels like home for him. Quote from Davide Tardozzi. In a surprising move, race officials displayed the white flag after only a few laps in MotoGP, signaling riders to be prepared to switch to their wet weather bikes. However, Tardozzi and the Ducati team were left confused by this decision, as there were no visible signs of rain. Honestly, we didn't understand why the white flag was shown. There wasn't a drop of rain. If it had started raining, we were ready to adapt, but the flag caught us off guard. Enea Bastianini, Bagnaia's teammate, had a solid showing in the sprint, battling with Marquez but failing to hold on to a podium spot during Sunday's race. Tardozzi highlighted Bastianini's relentless drive, praising his mentality. Enea lost his podium chances in the first couple of laps because he had to push too hard, which wore down his tires. But if finishing fourth makes him frustrated, I take that as a good sign. It means he has a winning mentality. With just a few races left, the MotoGP title race is finally poised. Despite Bagnaia's dominance in terms of race wins, Martín maintains the lead in the standings, a situation Tardozzi finds intriguing. The title fight is still completely open. Both riders deserve it, and whoever wins will have truly earned it. It's almost ironic. Pecco has won 8 races, Jorge only 3, and yet Pecco is 10 points behind. It's an open wound, but Pecco understands the situation well. I'm confident he'll deliver the result that both he and the team deserve. Concluded from Tardozzi. With the MotoGP championship going down to the wire, all eyes will be on Valencia. Will Bagnaia's relentless pursuit pay off, or will Martín hold on to his slim advantage? The final chapter of this thrilling season is yet to be written. After a tough period due to a shoulder injury sustained in Austria, Fabio Di Giannantonio is feeling competitive once again. At MotoGP, he finished 10th and admits his performance is improving, making him optimistic for the future. We have to be happy with this weekend because we're back to being as competitive as we were before the injury. Unfortunately, the first lap was chaotic, which set us back, but overall, there are positives and negatives to take away from this race. Quote from Fabio Di Giannantonio. One rider Di Giannantonio is paying close attention to is Marquez. He sees Marquez as a model of consistency and someone who extracts the full potential of the GP23, qualities that Di Giannantonio wants to emulate. I'm sure the glass is half full because we could have competed with Morbidelli. In my opinion, we're mature enough to be like Marquez, ready to aim for the podium as soon as an opportunity arises. Marc is great at this because he's consistent and knows how to get the maximum out of the GP23. I'm going to study him closely. Despite his growing confidence, Di Giannantonio is still dealing with the lingering effects of his left shoulder injury. Although he feels better, certain circuits like MotoGP still present challenges with temperature and tire management, making it harder to stay close to the rider in front. Compared to a few races ago, I feel much better. The issue is that on circuits with a lot of stop-starts, like MotoGP, we struggle with temperature and tire pressure. If you don't get close to the rider ahead immediately, you start to feel the spring effect. Today, I tried to chase Bezzecchi, but I couldn't keep up. Di Giannantonio is also facing the possibility of surgery on his shoulder, a decision that could affect the rest of his season. With an important medical appointment on the horizon, he remains uncertain about whether he will be able to compete in the remaining races and participate in the Valencia test. I have a crucial appointment on Wednesday, and we'll see what the options are. Ideally, I'd like to ride in all the upcoming races and test a new bike in Valencia, but I don't know if that will be possible. Di Giannantonio concluded. As Fabio Di Giannantonio continues his recovery and refines his performance, his eyes are set on learning from the best in the field. Whether he can finish the season without surgery remains to be seen, but for now, the Italian rider is focused on getting the most out of his Ducati GP23. Commentating for DAZN during the Japanese GP, Dani Pedrosa reflected on Pecco Bagnaia's double victory, which brings him just 10 points behind championship leader Jorge Martín. Pedrosa acknowledged the pressure on both riders as they continue their fight for the title. Pecco always imposes that fast pace, which makes the race feel long for the others, leaving no room for rivals to make a move. Bagnaia and Martín have been the ones to collect the maximum points, as the pressure demanded. Quote from Dani Pedrosa by Motosan. One of the standout riders of the weekend, according to Pedrosa, was Pedro Acosta. Despite crashing early in the race, Acosta showcased impressive pace, even keeping up with the Ducatis during the first laps. Acosta was really strong this weekend. He was keeping up with Bagnaia and the Ducatis in the early laps, which is a great achievement. He also earned his first pole position in the Premier class, which shows his growth. His performance, even though it ended with a crash, was very positive. Pedrosa also discussed Jorge Martín, noting that despite some early struggles, the Spaniard managed to turn things around and leave Japan with renewed confidence. Martín didn't have an easy weekend. He lacked pace on Friday, crashed in qualifying, and started 11th. But by the end, he recovered well and was riding at the same pace as Bagnaia. If Martín had started further up the grid, he might have had a shot at victory. With the title race heating up, Pedrosa stressed how crucial it is for Bagnaia and Martín to avoid mistakes as every point counts. Given the tight competition, not making mistakes is key. Finishing first or third can mean a 9-point difference, and that can make all the difference in the championship battle. Pedrosa also praised Acosta's rapid development and relentless effort to push his KTM to the limit, even if that led to mistakes. Acosta has been consistently at the front, challenging the Ducatis and trying to break into the leading group. He's pushing the KTM hard, and while that can cause mistakes, this experience will be invaluable for him in the long run, Pedrosa concluded. Dani Pedrosa's analysis highlights both the strengths and challenges faced by the top riders in MotoGP. As Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martín continue their fierce battle for the title, young talents like Pedro Acosta are proving they have what it takes to challenge the best in the world. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. See you in the next video.